All right, Nathan Curry, Sarah Savage. It is February 1st, New Mexico. So, Sarah, can you talk to us a little bit about your role at Connections?
Sure. So I'm the Vice President of HR at Connections. I work with about a 38-person HR team. We have three core functions within HR. We have a systems and reward function. We have a talent function, and we have a HR services function. I'll talk briefly about each of those. So systems and rewards contains our payroll and our benefits function, all of our technology system access throughout the organization, our compensation function, and our employee help desk. Our talent function includes talent acquisition, as well as training and development, and learning and development. And then finally, our HR services is the host of our partner model. So every customer receives an HR partner assigned specifically to their school, and that model is all supported under HR services.
Okay. So, and so can you give us a framework about how many employees do you really oversee there?
Yep, so there are about 3,800 employees total. We also work with an agency that provides temporary support during peak seasons for our call center environments. But about 3,800 Connections employees. The breakdown there is probably a little greater than 2/3 school and a little less than 1/3 traditional corporate employees.
And so talk about the mission of Connections and how the Human Resources Department, how it really caters towards to the mission for Connections.
So the mission for Connections is to help every student maximize his or her potential. And I think that relates to HR in two ways. One is the decision making that comes from HR. I'll use a really basic example, a decision to terminate a teacher. Whenever we're faced with a situation where termination is a possibility, we're thinking about the student and the learner. What's the best impact to that student? Is it continuing to support the teacher and help them grow, develop, learn, and improve? Or is it truly removing that teacher and identifying a new teacher for them? We're also very much focused on that mission when we're hiring and developing our talent. So all of our support that goes to schools is always focused on helping support education in our environment, which is a unique, somewhat different environment from traditional. And our learning and development function and training is also very much focused on helping all of our students, or all of our employees, maximize their own learning and potential, very much like our students.
And can you talk about, from a funding standpoint, do you know maybe the percentage that what HR encompasses with the Connections budget?
I don't know that offhand. It's not something that I'm privy to.
Okay. And then how do we acquire talent acquisition? What are some ways that we go about, as you said in the opening?
So I have a team of folks, and I'll focus on the school talent acquisition. And we really work very collaboratively with what we would call a hiring manager at the school. That's either the school leader, the principal, or maybe even a master teacher. It could be any number of people empowered at the school level to support the hiring function for their school. So we do things like training the folks. A lot of times people come in and they've never hired before, or they've never hired a virtual teacher before. So they've hired hundreds of teachers, but never one to fit this model. So really that training and support to help identify talent. We support with the writing of job descriptions, posting jobs on kind of general sites as well as state-specific sites. We will review resumes in our applicant tracking system and make recommendations to hiring managers. We will produce or push people through what we call HireVue. It's called HireVue. It's not what we call it. It's an online virtual interviewing tool that allows the schools to ask specific questions and see the response from a candidate who's taking it electronically. And then we will assist with the decision-making process if necessary. A lot of times new schools will look to us to help with that decision-making. We will support the salary determination process using the school's approved salary structure. And then we will move everything through onboarding, drafting that offer letter, getting all the new hire paperwork from that candidate, and so on.
Okay. And so just lastly, let's talk about confidentiality and privacy. How is that, if at all, played into human resources?
And that's a huge and vital part of what we do, whether it's something that's in writing, something that's on a drive somewhere, of a conversation. So all of our folks on my team are held to a very high standard of confidentiality. And we have very strong technical requirements of how to store documents, what to do if you walk away from your computer, printing documents, all of those types of things that will require utmost confidentiality.
Okay. And then lastly, what do you find rewarding about what you do in human resources?
That's a great question. I mean, people will always say helping people, right? But I love being able to work in HR in the education industry. I find it very rewarding to know that in a fairly indirect way, I'm impacting students, and I'm a part of a movement to really push and facilitate a new type of learning. While it doesn't feel so terribly new to me, I've been doing this for 10 years, I do recognize that this is an innovative type of education, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Very good. Okay. Cool.